Who would have thought uploading hundreds of videos to YouTube, all of that time was wasted. I should have just gone on the Shishbi podcast. That would have solved all of the problems.
A few years ago, I actually used to want to be a famous rapper, right?
I see you wrote reposting some like concert stuff or something on Instagram when I do go on there every now and then.
Yeah, yeah. And at the time, I was trying to think of a name, and I was on the keyboard thinking, what could I do? And the S backwards is a Z, right? So
Yeah.
started to just call myself AZH, and then 640 is like Callum's old clothing brand he started called 640V. So I just stole that from Callum and just pieced it all together.
Damn, we've got some like backstory stuff going on.
Yes,
That's
sir.
cool, man. It's
Yeah.
also interesting. And then Smith, is that like your like? Because I think Callum said your parents are like separate or whatever. So is that like one of their surnames or something?
So Smith is actually because I couldn't put it wouldn't let me save my name as AZH if I didn't have a last name, so I just put Smith. Short story. But
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
bro. Fucking what how have you been since you came to my house on a little adventure?
Yeah. I've been good. It's been interesting. Yeah. Still going with the YouTubes and the podcasts, as you can see, I suppose. But yeah, I got some like stuff recently with like working for YouTubers or whatever, like really recent, like really just like last week or whatever. So we'll see how that goes. But
Okay.
it's so weird for me because like I was actually at I'm sure you know Oxford University, right?
Yeah.
I was literally there yesterday, like looking around or whatever, and like I'm in a weird position because like I'm like smart enough to go to these places, but like I don't really care about it, to be honest. I don't.
You not feel like naturally pulled to go down that typical like corporate just like education route.
Bro, I already done it like enough, and I just think because I did GCSEs and like I went like full in for that whatever for like I don't know, it was like 3 or 6 months. I like barely did anything but like study, and it was like
Yeah.
it's painful, man. But like I mean, I did really well, but I was like afterwards, I was like I don't think that was worth it really.
What was your intention of going to the like university yesterday? Was it a certain like did you already go there thinking, yeah, okay, I want to study this and see if they get courses
I
on it?
kind of went there like like for a while. I've been thinking I probably won't go uni, but I was just interested to see what it's like. And I mean, it looked pretty nice, but I just don't think there's anything at school that like I'm that interested in that I would want to dedicate like 3 years of my life and like money and stuff to do it.
Yeah. 100% mate. And realistically, all the education system is just information. And nowadays you can just get all of that online. So like when I was in school, it didn't resonate with me at all because I could just go onto YouTube and the information I was learning on YouTube it was like at a quality that was a different level to school.
Changed my
And
life.
yeah, exactly, bro. And I feel like people like me and you have had that realization where we're like, okay, well, I can just learn all of these skills online, learn about all this information, and I actually like the people more as well. Like these people I see online. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're seeking them out as well. You actually want to go to them, whereas at school it's kind of like you have to go. So
Yeah. Yeah. And when you are watching content, it's something you're naturally curious about. You're not just going into these classes which are like pre-constructed that you have to go to. Oh, you have to be in you have to be in religious educations. You have to go to science. It's like, so yeah, you can pick. But yeah,
I think it can even kill it the way they do it at school, because like certain like some science I do actually find interesting, but
yeah,
that's stuff that I actually want to look into, not just like random stuff that I don't care about. Or like even say with religious stuff, I mean, this might be a bit conspiratorial, but I can't remember who. I think it might have been Callum, actually. Someone said, like, he thinks they might have on purposely taught it in, like, a way that makes everyone just find religious education really boring, so they don't, like, have a
really.
belief in God. And don't know, believe in the government instead or something, you know, because like people always worship something. There's that kind of idea.
Yeah, mate. Well, you look at the past events of what have happened, even over the last couple years. There's a lot of conspiracy theories that, to me, before would sound crazy, but now wouldn't be surprised if they're true. To be honest.
Well, I'm pretty sure the definition of a conspiracy just goes against the mainstream. It doesn't actually have to be wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of corruption going on in this universe, Owen, and I feel like there's a fine line between just being interested in conspiracy theories, then getting to the point where you're just constantly like suspicious about everything, and you're just feeding your mind with you're literally just filling your mind with, I don't know, just like negative information.
Yeah, people make it like their personality. Like that's all they do. All they talk about like online, and they go and like try and convince other people in their life that all this evil stuff's happening. I heard this somewhere. I think it might have been Naval or something. That if something bad happens, it's better to think of it that it's probably because people just want profit or something. And that they're incompetent. Whereas if you go around thinking everything bad that happens is because of some evil person, like you're just gonna be paranoid and miserable. And I like this idea that like if it wouldn't change the way you live your life, like you shouldn't worry about it. So I said to Callum, it's like Callum. I think we were talking about like Graham Hancock, you know him, and ancient civilizations, and I was just like, well, maybe or maybe not, but like, let's get rich and then
let's get rich and then worry about this stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's very true, mate. It's like so easy just to worry about all these things we have no control over, and I don't know, because it's like the same as me as well. I was like at one point just watching a bunch of like politics on YouTube and just in like Parliament and like Congress, and it is really addictive because it's like conflict, it's stimulating your mind. You're just like, and for me as well, it's like I've experienced a lot of like unjust behavior in my life. And what I've realized is that I like to see people get exposed for like lying and like corruption and stuff, because it makes me feel like, it's like justice. That's justice for me as well.
Yeah, you gotta watch out. There's a lot of things like that where it's like a trap, I think. I even think maybe watching, like, if you watch loads of sports, I think it's also another thing. You feel like you're winning because your team's winning, but you're just sitting there drinking beer on the sideline.
Literally. And mate, I feel like people that support like teams, it becomes like a part of their identity.
It's like a cult.
That's why,
really.
Like, as you just said, that when their team's winning, they're winning. And
and I'm not against, like, I like sport, and like if you want to watch it every now and then, I think it's good. But it's like the people who will sit and watch, like, I don't know, over 2 hours a week of sport, and especially if they're not really doing much in their own life to try and like further themselves, they're like supporting other people and like before themselves even.
Yeah, mate, that is facts. And for example, all my friends, right? They just live for the motive, mate. They live for the party. They'll, when they link up and watch like football or something, they're also like drinking, doing coke, just like fucking. It's like I've been there, and the quality of conversation is just it's below. Like, oh mate, it's just I don't know. It's kind of frustrating in a way.
Yeah. I've started recording, by the way, but we can always like chop this like however we want. So
I think it wouldn't be a bad idea if I change my name maybe as well. So, mate, I did change it to
if you want. I don't think anyone really notices that realistically.
No. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, if there's anything, just say whatever, and then afterwards, if you're like, I probably shouldn't have said that, we can always just go back and do it. Yeah.
Am I allowed to say any naughty words or no?
Freedom of speech, bro. Whatever you want.
My Fifth Amendment right, dude.
Right. Yeah, that's what I thought was interesting. Like, because this sounds kind of weird, but I think in a way, like when we came to yours, you kind of reminded me of myself a bit.
Really?
maybe not so recently, but like 1 or 2 years ago, because like I could see you were like, you wanted to like try and improve stuff about like what's going on. I'm not, this is, sounds like I'm not trying to say like, oh, I'm fucking perfect, and I'm like, oh yes, I've done so well, but like, I was like, I had stuff that I was like bad habits I was trying to get rid of, and like I wanted to like get out of this, and like I was looking, and I felt like that's similar kind of thing from you as well.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like I noticed you would message me on Instagram as well, being like, "Oh, you stop smoking, and I find myself doing that with people that I saw as my past self in a way, because naturally you just want to help them, and you want to kind of like, you're interested to see where they're at and stuff.
Because I was, if I just jump in here, I was like, because I saw like you had that like passion, like you had the drive, you wanted to like improve stuff. I was like, what I would hate is for like you to be inspired by this, and like speaking to like, well, not just me, but like other guys as well who were there, and then we go, and then you just kind of slip back into the old stuff, like with other like influences that you had in your life. And it would just be like you'd had this moment of like inspiration, but then it just kind of fade to nothing. So I was like, I was trying to stay on your case, I guess.
Trying to keep that like momentum going in a way.
The accountability,
Yeah, mate. Honestly, when you guys came over, like, initially when I just heard the way you were just kind of like hold yourself, even just like your body language, like you're just so calm, and I noticed that you were like very articulate. And to be honest, I thought you were in your early 20s, and I thought you were that other guy's like little brother, because he was like 30 or something. And I was like, oh, how old are you, by the way? And you were like 17. I was like, like, bruh. I was thinking, I was like, this guy is, this guy's got a lot of potential, and it's like, that is one thing I want to improve in my life, is just becoming like more articulate and more, I don't know, to build my knowledge in my brain, because most of the time when I speak to people, I'll just feel stupid, to be honest. But I think that's more of like a self-image thing, not gonna lie.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was Raphael. I think he was 26, not 30, but it's interesting. People always thought I was older, I think. Even when I was like, how old was I? I was... Wait, hang on. I think I was 8 years old, and I'm walking into my classroom in year 3, and there's like a teacher, not our normal teacher, but like a, what do you call it, assistant teacher or something, was like, asked me and my other friend, who was like even taller than me, because we kind of like grew early compared to most people, and they were like, are you the prefects? They thought we were like 4 years, they thought we were 12 when we were 8.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I just look old or what, but people, or maybe it's just the way I don't know. I guess I've probably always been a bit more like quote sensible than people my age, but I don't know what to say. But it's not the first time. Basically, I'm saying that people thought I was older than I was.
Yeah, mate. It's hard to like put an exact point of why people think you're older than you are, but I've got a good idea. It's in a bubble, just the way you hold yourself, and kind of the wisdom you have for your age. Because I'll tell you now, when I was 17, yes, I would search for information online that I thought was interesting, and I would like pursue side hustles and stuff, right?
That's good, bro. That's better than most people, man.
Yeah, but I don't think I had that kind of like frame in a way. I was still like a kid. Do you know what I mean? I was still like, when I would hold myself and like convey myself as a child, basically. That's what I feel like anyway. But
Interesting. Yeah.
Am I going to be judged for drinking in a plastic bottle right now?
No judgment here, but glass and metal is better, I think.
Is the whole like microplastics thing actually like real, do you reckon?
It's real, I'm pretty sure. I'm literally going to be interviewing a doctor on it soon. Well, I should be. Looks like I will be.
Yeah, I wonder what it will say about all that stuff.
Yeah, I I can send you one. Joe Rogan and Shanna Swan is this woman. But yeah, there's something going on. I don't know how big of an effect it is. I think some people probably exaggerate it a little bit, to be honest, like for clickbait or whatever. But
yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's doing something. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I mean, I guess I think from like 14 or like 13 to like 17, I like went through like a very, I don't know, I feel like I almost grew up fast. It's kind of weird, but I think I just went through so much knowledge for like so quickly. I mean, I was always pretty like smart at school and stuff. I think my dad always tried to like treat us like adults. Me and my brother, he always said that.
Yeah.
To like, I don't know, that's probably part of it, which is cool. But then, I don't know, what else really? I guess parents splitting, I think maybe made me grow up faster, but I don't know if that's like, that happens with a lot of people, but I don't think they turn out the same. I'm not sure. I think I just got to the point where I was like, well, I was looking around and people were just like kind of asking at that kind of age, like when we start like choosing GCSEs and A levels and stuff, like what do you want to do? Like what job do you want to? And everyone's just like, not everyone, but a lot of people were like, oh, I want to do this, and I'm just there just like, I don't know, jobs are kind of dead. And then like, I'm pretty glad, like I'm pretty lucky, I think. I don't know if I'll go through the whole origin story. I might have already told you this before, but like, origin story, that sounds so cringe. Okay, anyway.
The origins of Owen Cheeselberry.
Yeah, so I went to my cousin's house. I think I was 13, and like he had like a chin-up bar, and he had like visible biceps, and I was like, oh, that's cool, because he was only like 15, and then I think, or maybe like 16. So he was like, he was like close enough to me that I could see like maybe I could do this, if that makes sense. Yeah. You might see like Arnold, but like if you're like a 13-year-old kid, you're like, well, that's Arnold. I mean, I'm not really gonna be able to do that, am I? Yeah. I think he was close enough to me that I was like, okay, we could do this. And I'd always been I played rugby and stuff. I'd always been quite sporty, but not. That's kind of when I got into like weightlifting, I guess. And my dad was like, yeah, let's get a chin-up bar, because my dad thought it cool as well. I think that helps as well. Like my dad's like always been quite healthy as well, so
yeah. You feel like your whole entire reality just shifted as soon as your parents split up. Like what was that like for you in that time? Was it like how did you actually feel about that? And like how did you feel about, well, might be a bit like revealing or anything. Like you don't have to answer this stuff.
Yeah, no, I'll say I might cut this out. I don't know. It was quite a while ago. It was when I think I was like 9 or something like this. But no, I'll be honest, I think it was kind of a good thing. Like I could kind of see that like, yeah, this is not really going very well. And because I know a lot of people feel like they feel like bad personally for it. Yeah. That like it's like their fault or something, but I was not like that. I was like, I genuinely think this is going to be better if they split. So yeah. But I guess that's also why me and my brother are so tight, I think, because we were like, even if we weren't with one of our parents, like it was always us together.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And I can see that with like me and Callum as well. Because we lived in Birmingham till we were like 10 years old, and we lived with my little brother's dad. So the household was me, Callum, Chad, Paul, and then my mum. And Paul was like really emotional, very impulsive. He wasn't like a nice person to be around. And when we did move down here, it was just like me, my brother, and my mum. And now she's like, we had a lot of trouble while she was living in the house, to be honest, just like conflict. And then when she did move out, it's like brought me and Callum like way closer together, because it's like that's all we've had. It's just like me, Callum, and you know, it's
yeah, it kind of pains me a bit when I see people with their siblings like arguing and stuff and like fighting. Yeah. And I'm just like, I literally say to people, like, if I'm like close enough to them, I'll be like, no, you need to actually like get on side with your siblings, because like, if you think like for the long term, the difference between you like not working with your siblings for like 10, 20 years versus like actually having a good partnership, like, I mean, I've looked at Andrew Tristan Tate, like the Logan Paul and Jake Paul. There's a bunch of others as well, examples, but like you might, like, I don't know, like you're with these people, like you're kind of stuck with them. You might as well try and get on, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And they're the people you can, well, depending on who your sibling is, that's the person that you can trust the most in a way. You've known them your whole life since you're like a little kid. So it's kind of stupid just to be always battling with your siblings, unless you're like 10 years old, then you naturally just battle with your siblings.
Yeah.
There's been times I've literally been tied up with like belts on my arms and just like rolled up into like a carpet.
Okay, I don't know about that, but yeah, all right. Okay, yeah, I was also interested about like how has Callum kind of affected you, and like how did you get into the like trying to improve your situation kind of thing? Because from what I understand, he kind of seemed to get into it earlier, I guess, because he's older is probably part of the reason.
Yeah, I would say that Callum has, mate, he's had a big influence on me, to be fair, just because like the thing that originally got me into self-improvement was just, and for everyone as well, was just pain and problems. And you're thinking, you start off just like completely unaware of these problems, and you're like, oh, why do I feel depressed? Why do I feel anxious? And you're not aware of the problem, which is usually your habits, right? And the pain just forced me to search for answers why. And Callum also went through this process and already had a lot of experience with just overcoming depression and like anxiety, like these feelings. So he would just speak to me about all these things, be like, oh, I've learned about this and that. And it would give me insight and kind of create that curiosity in my brain to learn about it as well. So yeah, like in a nutshell, his kind of wisdom just created that desire in me to go down that path even further. But yeah, what about you, mate? What kind of got you into the self-improvement and the whole, like self-improvement?
Yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, so I think the first thing was I saw my cousin and I was like, damn, that's cool. Like, he's into fitness and stuff, and he's actually like sees results. But like I said, he's close enough to me that I think I could actually do something with this. So I actually think that was it. I kind of came in through the fitness door. Like some people come in from like they want to make money. Some people come in from like mental health and like spirituality. I guess maybe I came in from a more like egotistical angle, but
yeah,
I mean, well, it got me here, so I can't complain, and I figured that out. Because I think a lot of people do get into fitness for the wrong reasons, which is kind of a side tangent, which we could go down if you want. But yeah, so that was the first thing. But it was kind of, I had this weird point. Like I thought back to it quite a few times. I don't entirely remember how it all went down, but there was this point where I was like working out like consistently. Like before school and like getting up at like a solid time, like maybe even sometimes like 6 a.m. or something to work out. But then I still had these other bad habits. It was really weird. And I don't know like at what point, but at some point I was like, well, I've done this area, you know, so why not like try and sort out this other stuff? And like you said there, that you don't know the problems you got. There's this like quote I saw recently that like the worst addiction is the one you don't know you have. So yeah, then I started like stopped playing video games as much. I still used to play them, but not. I kind of tapered it back. Then also started like NoFap, because that was also another big thing that was just terrible. Which you don't realize until, especially with the environment and like everyone kind of says it's like
it's healthy.
Yeah, it's like it's terrible, man. It's like the culture needs to change there. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was it really. And then I think I just was like watching fitness YouTube videos, and then I kind of got a bit more into the self-improvement kind of blur between that, and then I got into like a lot of Andrew Kirby stuff, so he helped me like a ton. Like he came like, I think it was really good the time it kind of happened, but I guess the algorithms are just good at that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of like productivity stuff, how to like stop being addicted to your phone and like watching YouTube for hours and all that stuff. And then I saw, I think that was the first two things, was more like Instagram, is fitness and like productivity. And then I saw an Instagram ad one day of this guy. I mean, I'm pretty, I don't know, I think this is the first thing that got me into the business and money side of it, because it's just imprinted in my brain. There might have been something before, but this business ad of this guy saying like, oh, I've been to, I can't remember what it was, like 13 countries in the last like 6 months or something. And I was like, well, that's cool. And he's like, I mean, he was probably a scam, but like, buy my course or whatever. But
$2.99, buy my course today.
And I saw that, like, okay, so there's people kind of, you know, living this life. I'm like, well, I think by that point I'd kind of figured out like, well, I was here and now I've kind of like actually seen some progress with like my fitness and like improving my physique, and then I've actually managed to like actually like stop being on my phone and video games all the time, which is something that's actually like, I mean, I thought it's actually a decent thing. Like, I've actually done something that's actually challenging. So I was like, I think that kind of gave me confidence that like, well, I actually can change stuff about my life. So that's cool. And then I was like, well, might as well try for this as well. I think, I'm not sure like how big my aspirations were then, but it was just like, everyone was like, what job do you want? What job do you want? But then I started seeing people like, oh, I have this business and I can like travel around and stuff. And I was like, oh, this looks great. So I was like, yeah, okay, I want my own business now. That was the thing. And then I read books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad and stuff, and kind of fell down that rabbit hole, and YouTube and podcasts and stuff. And I think that was the final piece of it, really. The fitness, then the mental health, and like productivity, and then the kind of finance stuff came later, I think.
Mate, it's quite interesting, because one thing I've noticed as well is that usually we do things at the start for the wrong reasons. Like, you started the gym for more kind of like vanity reasons, and because you wanted to look good, you wanted to go out and meet your friends and be like, poor biceps. And then
okay, keep going. I've got something to say about that.
Yeah, whether that's true or not, we will speak about that further. But and then as you go down the road, you start to be like, oh well, if I don't go to the gym today, I'm not going to feel good, and I'm not going to be building my muscles so I can live longer and like be healthier. And then you're like, oh well, if I don't go to the gym, then all this like diet stuff is like, yeah, it's going to make me have more clarity on a daily basis, but it's not going to be building my body when I could be. It's like missing out on opportunity. So and even with like online courses as well. For example, I joined Hustlers University with the pure desire of just money and to feel like I'm worthy of like respect in my friendship group, because I've got like a high value skill or whatever. And then as I was doing it, I started to realize, oh, I'm actually really interested in like psychology and like human nature and stuff. So it starts to like, you start for the wrong reasons and then you find like meaning. And I just thought it's quite an interesting thought, to be honest.
I think that is fair enough for a lot of probably most people I've actually spoken to. I don't know like how much it was for vanity reasons in the beginning. I can't really remember, to be honest. I was 13, but I think it was like, oh, he's got biceps, that's cool. But I don't know. Like, was I thinking that? Oh, I don't know. Partly, yeah, for sure. And even like still a bit today, probably a bit too much of that. Not much, like not like bad, but like I think there was a point when I was like 14 where I was like, oh, I'm so sick, I've got abs. Then I was like, then I finally decided to go on a bulk, and then I just put on loads of extra muscle. Anyway, it's another story, but I'm looking back at pictures and I was like, what the flip, I was so skinny, and I was just like, I don't want to gain too much fat. I guess it was partly for that, and then I don't know, I just thought, what did I think? I think it was like, well, I might as well. And then also I didn't know it was like good for you, and also I was like playing rugby and stuff, so I thought it'd be like useful for that as well. So it wasn't like all that, but like, yeah, for sure there was definitely some of that in there. But I think that's what people like you say, people start for the wrong reasons. I feel like you almost can't, like, it's very hard just to do one in the end. Like, I think people start with like, oh, I just want like loads of money, but then like, if you like got loads of money but you're like unhealthy and like sick all the time and you can't do anything, like no one wants that. Or like, there's not much fun if like you have to go to a job you hate, but like you're a sick, ripped bodybuilder, like and like your mental health's terrible. So I feel like I think that's what people don't realize is people just see one aspect of it and they want it, and then I feel like it's almost like a whole. You almost have to like do everything, if that makes sense. Like if you really want to get to like the best life possible for you, you kind of do need to focus on like multiple areas.
Yeah, mate, 1000%. Have you read the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck?
No, I've heard about it. Apparently it's basically just stoicism, which I've read a fair amount of. Apparently the author is Mark Manson, right? I think one of the chapters in there is called Memento Mori, I'm pretty sure, which is literally just straight out of stoicism. I think he admitted that a lot of it is stoicism. A lot of Jordan Peterson stuff is stoicism. Like, I don't know. So they spin it back in, yeah. I mean, to be fair, like the ideas do have to come from somewhere. Like, it's hard to just. It is quite hard probably to have an original idea now, but I just thought that was interesting, and no, I didn't really read it. No.
No, it's funny you say that because that's something I want to learn more about is stoicism. I've watched like summaries on YouTube and watched like the fundamentals of stoicism and stuff, but I haven't deeply explored it. And it's interesting because in the Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, right, he says about your metric for success. So it's like if your metric for success is just money and you get the money, you're going to realize once you do get it that it's not going to make you happy. Yeah, it's going to give you some freedom, it's going to give you more like leverage to like do what you want and stuff, but it's not gonna. There's other areas of life, as you said, like your fitness, your like spirituality, your relationships, that also are a factor of happiness. So if you just go into something for money, you're just going to be running off like external desires. Really, it's not like internal. You haven't got that true passion for it that keeps you going. But I feel like now it's really easy to like fall into that because the amount of side hustles I've tried to do that are just based off money, and the whole time I'm not enjoying it. I'm like just forcing myself to do it. I'm just doing it out of willpower, and then that's when you just end up self-sabotaging. You can't.
You got any? Have you had like any like solid results at all, or like signs of like results or any of them?
So it's funny because I've not actually. So when I was 18, just turned 18, I was doing Amazon FBA, and I made like $1,000 in sales on it. But at the time, I was still smoking weed every day, like just playing video games every day, right? And as you can imagine, a young 18-year-old just sitting down thinking, on a wholesaler's website, thinking, okay, so I could either call this wholesaler and look like a dickhead because I've not got I don't know what to say to him, or I can just go smoke a fat joint and play Fortnite. It's like no brainer.
Oh, right, because once you got some rewards, you just instantly just like wants to enjoy it.
Yeah. And I'd say the progress that I've made in a side hustle that was the most meaningful was copywriting, because it made me. It's like playing into what I want to do now with like content creation and like personal brand, and it's like even just learning about it's like the two key human motivators is just pain and pleasure. You're either avoiding pain, going towards pleasure, or you're going from pleasure to pain. And if you can, for example, if you can describe someone's pain and problems that they're experienced on a daily basis, they're going to think, oh, this guy understands me. He's relatable. He knows the perfect solution for me. Like just even little things like that. It's like really just intriguing to me.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, like
okay. Yeah, I think you really do just have to pick something and just stick at it, because you know, like the whole compound interest thing, like it doesn't, like sometimes it does take a little while to get going. If you keep jumping every time, you're not like keeping that stuff, because like it's probably been like 4 years since I actually first started using like editing software and like Photoshop. I mean, not seriously, like to the amount I use it now, but I've realized the other day that like you might not see it, like you don't see it all until you actually, how do I explain this? Like I went through all of that and now I can do what I can do, but like I had to go through that. Like even if someone came now, like, and they're next to me, like they wouldn't just, and they just started, they would not be like close. I mean, obviously I've wasted a bunch of time, made a bunch of like stupid mistakes, and like it was definitely not the most efficient way, but like now like you actually have figured out stuff that you just don't, I don't think it's that easy to do unless you put like a fair amount of time in.
Yes, mate, it's an interesting point. Like I want to kind of learn more about this, but first thing that came to my mind was that about like the compound interest and everything. Is that like you just said, if someone came up to you right now, they wouldn't be able to do what you do because they haven't been through those days and days and days and weeks of those like short little like tweaks you've made in your mindset and like the information you've exposed yourself to, and all just like the little actions that make you. And it's like you need to actually experience problems to understand them, identify them, and then overcome them. But
like, I mean, now if I was to try and like teach someone like Photoshop and editing, like they could do it way faster than I did because I was kind of doing a lot of it just on my own. But it's still that like Naval like calls it specific knowledge or whatever. If you're like jumping new side hustle every like month or something, you just don't get that really going.
It's like you kind of, when you just go from side hustle to side hustle, it sounds typical, but you're just a feather in the wind at that point. You're kind of going, oh well, this feels good, like for now. Oh, I'm gonna do this is what I'm curious about. You're not really like truly
committed to anything.
You're not committed to anything. I
think you got to realize that there are going to be points where it's going to be a bit more boring, and like if every time that happens you just go and jump to the next thing, like you're probably not going to get very far.
Do you feel like for yourself it's difficult to focus on like one project, or are you the opposite where you're like you're just fully committed to something?
I think I'm pretty good. I've definitely got like a lot better. But sometimes I do like catch myself. I'm like, no, I've got too much going on. You've got to say no to more things. But I think it's a bit of a skill you learn, and you got to like exercise it. Same with everything. Like I don't know if some people have this idea that like one day they're going to just be like a monk and like nothing will faze them at all, and like everything will be just sit down for like 15 hours and work straight. Like no, like things get easier, I'd say, but there's still like habits, like even though the habits are a lot weaker or like from a few like years ago even, there's still stuff in your brain that, you know, we still have like tendencies to do things, so you gotta watch yourself.
Mate, 100%. And that's the thing though, it feels really good when something is far away from you in a way. For example, it's like, oh, I'll be happy when I'm making 10 grand a month, and I'll be happy in the future when I'm just a stoic pillar of like the universe and nothing can faze me and I've just built this insane discipline. But in reality, there is no future, there is no next week. It's like right now. That's where that's where you need to make those like identity shifts. And bro, I don't know a lot about like identity shifting and getting into this because like, anyways, I want to learn more about that stuff, to be honest. Just your identity now rather than, well, I don't know, kind of rambling at this point.
No, I got you. I could maybe share some things. I don't know if I'm an expert, but identity shifting. It's a good, like, that is a bit of a mental model I will use sometimes, and like this idea of like act like how you want your future self to be. So like imagine who you want to be and like what you do, and then just try and act like that. And
Yeah.
it sounds so simple, but you have to like constantly remind yourself and stuff. Also, if you've got like hard decisions, like just look, like imagine you're like 100 years old or whatever, looking back on life, and what would you like regret? And then what else? Identity shifting. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is really useful, but this was an interesting idea I heard, that like people who like say to themselves, oh, I can't afford this, or I can't do that, like that's like limiting yourself and like restricting yourself. So I'm not sure who it was, but it was someone who like, while they still didn't have that much money, if they were going to go out, say to like a restaurant, they would like go and get like everything, like they would get the best stuff, like even if they had to save up ages and they only ate out like once every like 6 months, like to almost tell their mind that like, oh, I can have this, and like I'm already at the point where I can have all this like luxury stuff if I wanted to. I mean, obviously they couldn't afford it all the time, but this idea of like not putting the barrier in the way of like, oh, I just gotta like, I don't know, eat McDonald's or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything to that, but I thought it was interesting.
No, mate. There's definitely something to that. And what you said about um, like, for example, say if you, like Andrew Tate, for example, if you just always thought to yourself, what would Andrew Tate do right now? When you wake up in your bed and your curtains are still closed and you're just like trying to drag yourself out, you're like, oh, I don't want to do this. And you think to yourself, what would Andrew Tate do? And you kind of live your life aligned to that frame of like, well, I don't know about you, but like think of a content creator like Andrew Kirby, right? Like if you think, do you ever watch like a podcast and think, oh, what would Andrew Kirby say to that? And you kind of have like a good idea of what he would.
I sometimes, maybe. I guess, I don't know if I would say what they would answer, but like I have ideas floating in my head from people I've heard like that. So maybe it's kind of similar, I think, yeah.
But what's like the main thing you're curious about at the minute about like learning or like pursuing in a way?
Okay. We'll go with learning. I think that's one's more interesting. I think a lot of recently I've been looking a lot into like kind of sun and light and how that like affected us. Like, I think light might be more important than I thought, because you know people talk about like circadian rhythms and stuff and morning sun, but yeah, like we've been in the light for much longer than we've been eating like meat. And there's a whole bunch of stuff. Do you know, have you heard of Jack Cruz?
His name rings a bell, but I couldn't.
Yeah, he did this like podcast with Andrew Huberman recently, and I don't fully understand a lot of it, but like Andrew, he was basically telling Andrew he has this theory that like light is like the #1 thing for your health essentially, and getting like lots of sun. Bro, I could go into so much right now. I don't even fully understand it myself, but that's basically, I'd say, the main thing I've been looking at,
Yeah, you've got all these ideas in your head just racing through, and you need to piece them together in a way. Mate, I know that exact feeling where you're like, well, I don't know if this is I can't like read your mind or anything, but like, for example, with the whole identity shifting thing, there's like, I know there's importance to it, and I know it's very valuable, but I'm just like, I know if I said anything about it, I'll just be like scrambling ideas together in a way. That's like, mate, and I just absolutely hate that stuff. I think that's what motivates me to learn as well in a way. But
so you can like convey yourself better.
Yeah, exactly, and just so I can make sense of things, really.
Yeah.
And
what I was gonna say earlier about how you're saying like, what would Andrew Tate do or whatever? You got to be careful, I think, with like who you pick, because I would prefer. I mean, you might have to actually write it down on a piece of paper, but like your future self, because I think that's the best. That's the most like achievable, even in a way, because you have the same circumstances that your potential would have had in their past, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then it's more about like actually you as like the main character, not like someone else. That's another framework I love from Joe Rogan, actually, is that you want to be like the hero of your story. because a lot of people, I hate it. I can't lie. Some people like, I think it was in my college. It's not really the guys. It's more girls say it. But like, oh that I think they said that like someone had like main character syndrome or something. But I think they were basically trying to say like they had like a big ego and they thought they were like amazing. But I was like, well, that's probably a good thing, no? Like,
Yeah.
because I think a lot of people do kind of live life like that. Like, they watch YouTubers and like they aspire or like are inspired by them. They think, oh, this guy's so cool. Look, he's doing all this cool stuff. But then they never really think for themselves about like that they could be doing that stuff. They're just kind of like, they'll just go to their job or school or whatever and then come back and just watch these people and just be like, oh, that's a cool life they've got. I don't know, like probably like the Kardashians and people like that are coming to mind. I literally know nothing about them, but I know a lot of people just like watch them and whatever they do, even if they go like shopping or something, people are like, wow, they're going shopping. It's like, yeah, you want to take control for yourself and like build your own life. I think imagine there's a TV set following you around and that your kids will watch this movie one day.
Yeah, mate, it's a very good point, because if you live your life based off like someone else's and what they've achieved, and you let that kind of like pollute your own desires, it's like, for example, everyone's got like different personality types and different traits, and it's like, even for me, I did a personality test the other day, right? And it's really interesting because it's like, before I'd watch like Andrew Tate, right? And be like, oh, I want to become just like this top G like businessman, as cringy as it sounds, and watch people like Patrick Bet David. And if I tried to do what Patrick Bet David did, it wouldn't work because of my personality type. Imagine if I just pursued like a career in sales in like these massive high stress environments. Maybe that doesn't suit my personality. And I don't know if you notice this as well, but you will, when you scroll on like social media and stuff, like you'll get these external desires like come in when you watch people. You're like, oh shit, now I wanna like do this, now I wanna think like this. But it's not truly coming from yourself. So yeah, back to your point, it's important to actually understand yourself, your true desires, your personality traits, your strengths, your weaknesses, so you have a better idea of what is like the most ideal thing for you in the future, really. But,
yeah, I'd say like not even just your personality type, but also like your circumstances. I think it was Naval again. I quote people so much. I wonder if it's like too much sometimes, but I'm surprised it all stays in so well, to be honest, sometimes. But
retention.
He was saying that even if like Elon Musk, if you gave Elon Musk like a biography when he was like a child of what he did and he tried to follow it, he would fail, because I think you do really have to try and carve your own path in some ways. Obviously you can learn from other people's like journeys, but it's never like the universe is very complicated, and I think it's unlikely you can have something that's like exactly the same route. So and then the thing about other desires, yeah, you got to be careful with that. I think a lot of people, I see it a lot, especially like with the universities and stuff, that they kind of end up falling into stuff that like society wants, or like their parent want them to do. Like parents want them to like go to this great university, get this job, like buy a brand new BMW or whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just like, is that what you actually want? Like actually, truly, have you even thought about it that much? Or you just think, oh, well, everyone who's like my kind of like, I don't know, what do you say? Everyone who's like smart and like goes to this kind of school does this kind of thing, so I'm going to do it. Like it's just on default mode.
Yeah, 100%, mate. It's like, I noticed that most of the people that go to university, they just go there and party, and they go there and just do drugs. And it's like, I think you're better off just self-educating online and being in an environment that is not full of like the party scene, young kids that are like, right, let's go get some cat or something. Let's go club. Let's like, bro, it's I don't know.
I would like to say I'm not completely against university. I think in some situations like it's a good idea, but like I think people need to actually think like this is actually like probably gonna be the best path, because Alex Hormozy like laid it out really good for this. He has this guy, I think he's called Jacob or something, who he lived like next door to this kid, and he was talking to him about it, and he was like, okay, so he's like, oh Alex, do you think I should leave university? He was like, okay, well what's your goal? I think he said his goal was like financial freedom or something. Okay, he's like, well, what's going to get you closest to your goal? Going to university or doing something else? And then he's like, like he's like, okay, so what does uni give you? And he says, oh, I'll be in this much debt, and like, oh, I've spent this time, and I won't have time to like work on other stuff. And he's like, okay, and what's the alternative? He's like, oh well, I was thinking maybe I could like go into sales or whatever. And he's like, okay, so if you did 3 years of sales, do you think you'd be better off than if you came out of uni in 3 years? And he's like, yes. And he's like, okay, I think you should drop out. Like he just laid it out straight like that. Sure, like there is still a lot of credibility, and like it can definitely help you if you like want to get a job or whatever, if you've been to like one of these top unis and you get that, like there's like some good networks and stuff at uni, and some of the stuff you learn is definitely going to be like useful, but I don't think that's the case for everything. I don't think that's like the default option that people should assume that like it's definitely going to be the best idea for them. But you got to be motivated as well, I think, because if you've just got some random guy, and like going to uni might actually be better for him, because it might actually force him to do some work instead of just like sitting in his mum's basement.
True, mate. That's actually a good point, because at uni you do have like that accountability to do your work, otherwise you'll get kicked out. You have a community of like-minded people that have the same interests as you, which is whatever you're studying. So yeah, I think you're right. There is good aspects to university, but like realistically, university is just information. That's all it is. It's like look at all these online courses. What are they? They're information. They've got mentorship, and they've got a community. Same as university, but university is just more credible because it's like established in a way.
Yeah, for sure.
It's established. So
I think it's losing its power every year, though. That's what I think is interesting, because with the internet as well, it's like decentralized. You can be anywhere. You can be living in like Thailand or whatever, or Bali, and you're still getting the same education. But yeah, like if you want to be a neurosurgeon, then yes, please go to university. If I have to have neurosurgery, I do not want some random guy who's been learning from Hustlers University about how to be a neurosurgeon. So I think it's not black and white, really. I think people trying to act like university's bad, it's a scam, or university's like, it's great, you should go. But it's like, it depends, I think, Yeah,
100%. It does, mate. Yeah, it definitely depends on your goal, like you said earlier, where you want to be, what you want to become. It's like, mate, well, I'm kind of saying what you just said, but if like I went to a doctor's and they were like, I was like, oh, so where did you learn all this? And he was like, oh, I learned it on Twitter. I'd be like, bro, that's it. I'm walking out.
Yeah, and I think people don't even know what their goal is a lot of the time, what they actually want. So I think that's an important thing, just sit and think about for, honestly, just like take like a pen and paper and just go off into like nature or something. Sit in a forest for 3 hours and just like write, what do you want? Anything that comes to mind, and then just read over it and figure out what you formalize it a bit.
Mate, I feel like when I feel the worst in life is when I overload my mind with information from like social media that's just pointless. So I'll just be scrolling on Instagram, watching just like fight videos, watching politics, debates on YouTube, and like red pill, like feminist gets owned and stuff like that. But once you actually sit down and, like, for example, when you're outside all day, like when you went on your holiday into the mountains, right, like not long ago, you probably came back feeling like refreshed and feeling like clarity in your life, because your mind's not like overstimulated with all this, like you don't even have like the mental capacity to think about yourself and what you want. And that's why I think social media is the devil, depending on how you use it.
We are, I guess, in the end, like evolved or created, or whatever you believe, to be out in the nature and not inside all day. So it
Mm-hmm.
does make me think when I go on trips like that like how I'm setting up my life in the future.
Mm.
I would like to, I think, eventually like build an outdoor gym at my house and like I even like work outside on a laptop like in the sun. I think that'd be pretty sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no, it's like just like how you set up your life. I think most people don't think about that. Another thing I did want to mention was like I think people can do a lot of cool stuff without even that much money. They don't even realize.
Mm-hmm.
So like Tim Ferriss was talking to this guy and he was like, "What would you do when you like sell your big company on New York Stock Exchange or whatever?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll probably go across China, like ride across the Great Wall of China on a motorcycle or something like this." And he was like, "You know, you only need like $5,000 to do that."
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
guy's like dedicating like hours and hours, like 100-hour weeks and stuff, decades of his life.
Mm.
And it's like, I mean, that probably wasn't all he wanted to do, but like, there are ways to kind of set stuff up. And it does make me think like, you don't just want to push it all down the line to one day I'm going to be happy, one day I'm going to do the things I want to do.
Yeah.
I think you do want to have some of those experiences along the way.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And Dan Coe actually speaks about this. He says that when you like put something into the future in your head, like money, or oh, I'm going to be able to live in Bali and drink cocktails on the beach, right? It's actually increases your dopamine because obviously you're anticipating that in the future, and it feels good. It feels good, but as you said, it's like the power of now. There's no future. There's what you're doing now, and
That,
yeah.
like a bunch of other times over and over again,
Yeah.
the present
Yeah.
moment. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, don't get me wrong, I do. So I do actually. I think that Andrew Tate has some very valuable points,
Mm-hmm.
but one that I don't agree with is when he says, essentially that you don't have to enjoy the work you do. Like I do. I don't, because it's like, imagine you're here, right? This is like the start of your journey. This is the 10 grand a month. Throughout that whole time, you're just not enjoying it. It's not resonating with you. You're just like,
And
literally.
how long is that going to be, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard to know.
And imagine if you were doing work that it's meaningful, you enjoy it, and it's filling your mind with like creativity and just positive emotions, leading to like good mental health, compared to every day just like struggling, just like worrying, just stressing. It's like, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, you're gonna be stressed out even if you're doing something that you enjoy doing, like learning skills, like marketing, like creating videos. Editing is long, mate. Like editing is long, but
Tell me about it.
yeah,
Yeah. But like you have periods, you know, like sometimes like you can enjoy it and then sometimes it's gonna be like a few times when it's gonna be a bit like tougher for like a day or whatever. But that's like that compared to like every single day is just absolutely horrible.
yeah. It's like every day you just want to jump out your bedroom window. You're like,
Yeah. Okay. Like, this would be an interesting question for you. Like, what advice would you give to your younger self? And this can be, I don't know, like 5 years ago or even 10 years ago.
the advice I give to my younger self is I would say to understand myself and where I want to go, because so for the last 3 years, right, I've been working in landscaping. Throughout that whole time, I had a deep desire to go work in a music studio, but the thing that was stopping me from doing that was money. I was comfortable. I liked the people I was working with. It was easy, and it was easier staying at that company than putting myself out there in an uncomfortable situation where I can potentially experience a lot of pain from it, go into like an interview or something like that. But yeah, I'd say pursue your genuine curiosities and your interests, and to do that, you actually have to sit down and understand what your true curiosities are. Because if you're like me and you just stuck at landscaping for 3 years for the money, you're gonna look back and think, shit, I knew I wasn't gonna do this long term. 3 years of my life have essentially been wasted, and now I'm in the same position I was 3 years ago. Not exactly the same.
You learn stuff. I think that's the thing. You got to be careful because people are like, oh, the time was wasted, but maybe you needed that, you know. But
yeah,
there is this. I was Chris Williamson. I heard it from that. Like, there's this point you got to be careful that people get stuck at where it's like just good enough, because realistically, if you're in like a terrible situation, that almost for your long term can actually be a good thing because it's going to force you to move and grow. Whereas if you're in a job that's like just good enough and you're like living like in a location and a place that you think is like it's just good enough, you kind of like, that's kind of how you end up in like mediocrity, to be honest, I think.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's like really painful, it's like, right, we need to move, because that's what you said before, like pain is a motivator, and that kind of encouraged you to go out and do some different things. Yeah. But then I think also, especially like when you're young, and Andrew Kirby kind of told me this, that it's not, I think especially like with us, like it's not really that much about the money right now for like what, it's more about like the skills we will learn, because like, sure, your money can come and go, like you might get robbed or whatever, but if you learn like a skill now that's going to be useful for the next like, I don't know how many decades of your life, that's worth a lot. And once you have those skills, it's a lot easier to generate the money.
Yeah, mate, and it's that whole self-mastery aspect. People think, oh, I want to make money, but really what they should be saying is, what skills do I need to learn to be able to make money? If you just focus on self-mastery, or mastery in whether it's writing or speaking, or even mastery about limiting beliefs, just understanding them fully, the money's going to come with it. It's like, the money's going to come with it, and that's part of my regrets before was not going to work in a music studio because of the money. When in reality, at this point now, like back then, I didn't understand about the whole, oh well, you can actually make content to attract attention and establish credibility in a way, and show your skills on the market, and then build a funnel so they can go through your funnel, and then like you can teach them how to do it. If I knew that back then, I would have just been like, right, going to work in the music studio, I'm going to teach people about, but yeah.
Well, you're here now, you know, because like there'll be people who never get there, or they'll get to like 40 years old and they wake up and they're like, my life is terrible and I feel like it's too late to do anything. So yeah. There's this great video from Sam Ovens, which is, I think it's called something like decoding the billionaire mind, and he has like these like Lego blocks, or well, they're not Lego, they're like giant Legos, whatever. But he goes through the stack, and like the first thing he's talking about is like mindset, and like I think he even says like your health and stuff. And I don't think people get that, especially like when I was first getting into all of this. Like you don't really realize how deep it goes. Like this genuinely is a path, I believe, of you're really completely changing like your entire character, because if your health is messed up, you're not going to be able to act on the information you have. If your mindset's wrong, you're just going to give up, or like it gets hard and you're just going to stop. Like you really need to go to every level and sort out all of that like mess that's there essentially, and then you can build the business on top. I think Iman Gadzi said that like 70% of success is just not smoking, not doing drugs, and getting good sleep. Because like you look at Iman's like YouTube, and he gets like millions of views, but well, okay, maybe it's just a bit harsh, but I'm not sure that like all of those people in the future are going to be like multi-millionaires. But it's like, well, what's the difference between them? Well, some of them acted and some of them didn't. And if your brain's just fighting against you, then you got no chance, really.
Exactly, bro. And that's what Hamza teaches a lot about as well, is exactly what you just said in a nutshell right there, is what that's Hamza's fundamental rule for if you want to make money, right, you need to focus on your mental health and your physical health, because it's like, it sounds really typical, but that's like, it's your vehicle. If you're eating junk food every day, smoking weed every day, doing drugs, mindlessly scrolling on social media, playing video games, it's like you're going to wake up and you're going to feel so unmotivated. You're not even going to be able to be in the right state of being to learn and to, like, you're going to be so distracted in your mind. You're just going to be thinking about all that other stuff, and you're just going to be feeling just terrible. You're going to feel terrible.
That's why I've also been quite focused on flow state recently. Like, you asked me about what I've been interested in earlier. I think as Hamza had like a tweet, something along the lines of, oh yeah, like life and business is easy when you get more done in one day than like most people get done in a whole week.
Yeah.
Because like, if you actually get these sorted out, when you actually do work, it's actually like going to be the best you can put out.
Yeah. Mate, it's really interesting with flow state as well. Like, I don't need to, but I want to explore flow state a bit more. And have you noticed as well that like your environment is like affects your flow state a lot? Like your environment, from like
absolutely
how clean your bedroom is, it's like the tabs you've got open on your laptop.
I think environment really is the number one thing for everything, actually, to be honest. Like fitness, like how your like diet is, and your productivity, everything. So I think we've talked about this a lot in person before, but like if you've got, or like text or whatever, but if you've got like good influences around you, you're going to be more like motivated to you know, do good stuff.
100%, mate. And it's a funny quote I came across the other day. This guy called Ryan Tracy, I think, and he says that humans are like chameleons because we absorb the attitudes and opinions and the behaviors of the people around us. And bro, I think one of the main reasons that it took me so long to stop smoking weed was because of the people I was literally associating with every day. It's like, it's hard to, I don't know, I've kind of just lost my train of thought there, to be honest. But it's like, we're, as humans, we're very susceptible to our environment in a way. And if you don't set up your environment in a way that is optimal, you're going to fail. Your environment, from your bedroom to the environment online, because you're still hanging around with these people online. When you're watching Andrew Kirby, you're hanging out with him. Do you know what I mean? That's your environment.
I think that's what, like, maybe that's how I seem. I don't know. You said I seemed wise earlier. I don't know if I'd. It feels weird if I would describe myself as wise, but anyway, I think part of that was I just spent so much time with. I probably spent more time with like a lot of YouTubers than like people I used to hang out with like a few years ago. Like, because I got to the point where I was like, I was around these guys who were like doing these bad habits, and then I was just like, well, you know, and they were like kind of like, you know, negative and stuff, and I was like, well, what am I doing here? Like, what? I'm not really getting anything out of this, really. Like, they're just like making fun of each other all the time and stuff, and, like just trash talking. So then that was it. Like one day I was like, well, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. And then I just went like start hanging out with some other guys who obviously like they're not perfect, but like they were better for sure in many ways. And it's probably one of the best things I ever did, to be honest. But like it was like, you know, nerve-wracking, I suppose, in a way. Like a bit nervous, like, oh, these people are gonna think I'm like not talking to them anymore, and they're gonna like judge me. But then I went through a lot of like Gary Vee stuff, like I think honestly on like a daily basis I was just like, I used to listen to certain videos like again and again, like motivational videos and stuff. Sounds cringe now, but like this idea that like, well, okay, well, if you don't really want to be with these people, you don't want to be like these people, then like why does it matter what they think about you, you know? That was like a massive thing. Once I cracked that, like that I'm not really worried about what people think about me, then it was like a lot of freedom and peace came from that. But it took a lot of like brainwashing of just watching so much content about it. That's honestly how I describe it, because it really was.
But So, like, mate, for example, with motivational videos, they are. It's difficult because I think that they are valuable to some extent because it kind of programs that mindset into like your subconscious mind. But if you just watch motivational videos and do nothing, it's like you're not going to change, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that is why you do come across as, and I'm not even saying this to be like, oh, like trying to, you know, like brown nose you or anything, but the reality is you actually do have a higher quality of thoughts than most people at your age, like realistically, because I know people that are your age and all they do is just think about drugs, do drugs, um, watch like fucking Fortnite compilations and stuff, you know, and I think that is why you do come across as more wise for your age because the quality of information you've exposed yourself to, like your environment, you know, and
Yeah, it comes back to environment again. Yeah.
yeah,
I had
yeah.
an interesting thing with motivational videos. I used to think they were like useful, and then I thought they were useless, and then I thought they were useful again. And I'll take you through that because that sounds kind of random. So, like when I first started listening to them, I was like, "Oh, this is great," you know. Oh, I feel better like listening to them or whatever, and like, you know, I were Muhammad Ali and like Arnold ones, like if I was going to the gym or whatever, and
Mm,
I wouldn't listen to them all the time, but like just every now and then.
yeah,
Then I got to the point where, oh, this is useless, you know, motivation is useless, you need discipline. And then I
yeah,
was like, and then I realized, then I got into like looking at the subconscious stuff and the mindset. And it's not I don't think the useful part is that original motivation you get. Like you said, it's just you're exposing yourself to those ideas. It
yeah,
really does kind of lodge in your brain a bit, I think.
yeah.
And yeah, I suppose that's it really. Yeah, and it
Mm,
gets in, and it's the belief shifts that it causes in you, which is
yeah,
because if your beliefs change, then your actions change, and then your life changes. But
yeah,
like you said, if you just sit there, just watch them, then nothing's going to happen.
yeah. 100%, mate. And when you are watching these motivational videos, it's like, say if for like every single day you're watching motivational videos and those ideas of getting up, doing the hard stuff when you don't feel like it, those things are being pushed into your mind. It's like when the next time you do face a painful situation, you might start to, because you are slowly shifting those beliefs, you will act differently. That one time that you're feeling the pain and you think of the motivational video, you're going to be like, oh, well, this guy said to do this and it resonates with me, so I'm going to do it. And mate, do you find it so interesting that it's like one idea, one thought can just completely change your entire path in life? Like
Yeah.
it's actually crazy. Just one little idea, one little thought.
On like my personal channel, like I just have this other channel I just normally watch stuff on, and I made a video. I just like recorded a real quick video. It's like I'm becoming more spiritual by the day, and recently, like that
Mm.
really has been true for me. Like I also used to think that like belief in God and like religion was all kind of like pointless, and like
Yeah, yeah,
why do people believe in this? This is kind of silly.
mm,
There's no one like sitting on a cloud or anything. But
yeah,
yeah, I would agree. Like as I've got into it more and more, like Alan Watts, if you know him.
mm,
Uh, yeah, there's a lot that we don't understand, and I wouldn't say I'm religious, but a lot more spiritual than I was, and
yeah,
there's definitely stuff that goes on that we don't fully understand. So stuff like that, the
yeah,
butterfly effect and stuff is,
yeah.
yeah, it's very interesting.
Mm. Yeah, to be honest, I didn't used to believe in God or like a higher power at all, but and I didn't see the point of it really. But I don't know. I feel like there's value to it because it gives you hope. For example, it gives you like a set of values that you can align like with the actions you take in a way. But I don't know whether like do you believe there is a physical God out there, or do you think it's more of like
No,
a concept of like
I think
values
it's like
and
I think
stuff?
it's like a force.
Yeah,
Like I think you can like it can link with science as well. Because that was
really.
always a thing for me. I always thought like, oh, I'm smart because I don't believe in God. I believe in science. And it's like,
Logic. I'm a logical human
of
being.
course, I
I'm
don't
big.
believe in God. Duh. Yeah, but like I never said any of this to anyone. So like I'm not trying to insult anyone who's religious. Like, I do think there's definitely value in religion, which I didn't really fully appreciate before. But
Yeah.
I would say more like a power, yeah, or like a force than like an actual being.
Yeah. Mate.
But what do I know?
Yeah, mate. Honestly, I feel like that's a good mindset shift to make as well. That alone, what do I know? Just being open to that, the ideas that you have, what you think is the truth, might just be complete delusions, because there's probably things you believed before that you thought were nah, like this is true, and then like a year later, you're like, I was so stupid.
I really hope that keeps happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like it can be painful, but like it's good to look back and be like, yeah, I've actually changed like for the better, and I've like learned and stuff.
Yeah, 1000%, mate.
So talking about the spirituality stuff, like I know Callum's done like ayahuasca and stuff in the Amazon or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
have you had an experience with any like psychedelics, and what do you think around all of that?
I've had some pretty interesting experiences with psychedelics, to be honest. One off the top of my mind is, so we were at a friend's house, right? And this was the first time we were no, sorry, not the first time. This is probably the fifth time that I tried a psychedelic. And this psychedelic was called 4-ACO DMT, right? And so bear in mind, my friend did one capsule of this substance and he had a complete ego death, right? So me and my friend called Evan, right, we thought it was a good idea to do two of them. so we do two, we dropped two of these, right? And I started having like crazy come up anxiety, which was like really intense, to the point where I was sitting there, and you know how you have like these electrical signals that go through your body, bro. I was sitting there on the sofa and just feeling like electrical shock signals going up my arms, right, like up my right arm. And like at this point in my life, I wouldn't say I had the greatest mental health. I was kind of searching for something, and this experience, it gave me insight to like human potential, like my living, like the state of being I could actually be in as a human. Because at that time I was, bro, like depressed all the time, just constantly anxious. And this experience, it was, if I could say it in one word, I'd say it was just blissful. Like I felt so good about myself. I felt just really, it felt like something was unlocked in my brain. And while the walls were just closing in at the same time, just moving around, and yeah, it's a really unique experience. And so you have like neural pathways in your brain, and I don't necessarily know the ins and outs of neural pathways, but I do know that they are essentially thinking patterns, and you can get stuck in these thinking patterns very easily. It's like something crazy, like 90% of your thoughts every day in your subconscious mind are the exact same. So, and obviously your thoughts lead to your feelings lead to your actions. So if your thoughts are if 90% of your thoughts are the same every day, we're living unconsciously.
Yeah, there's a saying I'll just chuck in here about neuro pathways, that like neurons that fire together wire together. So that's why addiction can be like so hard to break, because these certain pathways are just always firing together. And then they just get stronger, the connections between them, because they're so used to it. That's why, like, if you learn a skill then don't do it for a while, it's harder because the links are weaker. So yeah, I'll just throw that in there.
But the interesting thing about neural pathways and psychedelics as well is that it will actually fix broken neural pathways in your brain and create new ones. So I don't know the ins and outs of this, but if your neural pathways, your thinking patterns, and you are stuck in negative thinking patterns, then it can create new positive ones. And if you have done psychedelics, you'll notice that it's not like a come down off like pills or cocaine where you feel shit. It's actually, you have an afterglow, like you feel good, and you don't want to do it for a while. Like you don't want to do psychedelics again for a while after, from my experience anyway.
Interesting. And
yeah,
you think that kind of unlock you felt, did that stay like for the long term?
I would say short answer no, but I would say that it guided me to make better decisions from that point onwards, that if I didn't make, I wouldn't be here now. I'm trying to think of, because it just helped me break that negative cycle of thoughts I was having every day, and it just gave me hope as well. Gave me hope to like potential in a way. But,
I think like I don't really know what I make of them. I think you've got to be careful. Like I think it was Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's like this physicist guy. Says he just wouldn't touch psychedelics because he thinks the human consciousness is so delicate that like I'm pretty sure it is proven that it will change your brain chemistry or like your neuron like connections or whatever. But that's not. I don't think it always happens in a necessarily good way. Like some people, it can really just mess them up essentially.
Yes.
So
yeah, bro. I'm not saying for people to go do psychedelics and stuff. Like no way, because I've heard some pretty crazy stories about. It's like at the end of the day, the best way to improve your life is sober, through self-education, not with like things that you can put into your body apart from like diet and good like nootropics or whatever. But I would say if you've got like really bad mental health, then you I don't know.
Don't say anything.
No, I'm not like an expert. I'm not going to give advice on any of this.
Yeah, for sure. I know. I think for certain people like PTSD, they're giving them like psilocybin, and it seems to be helping. I haven't read the studies, but I've heard that there does seem to be some potentially positive applications for these. But I don't plan on touching it really at all. I'm very cautious. I don't want to like just screw up my brain.
You're a cautious comedian. I was actually gonna ask you, have you like considered doing psychedelics or like nah?
No, I mean, no, not really. Like I think they're interesting. And I mean, they might be able to help some people, but no, I'm not planning on it anytime soon. Yeah, okay. I want to ask you about a bit of, like content creation, what your plans with that. Like, because you said you want to do the personal branding or whatever. Yeah. So, yeah, what's your future for the YouTube?
So I'm kind of just, to be honest, I'm just on the path of, I'm just on a journey of self-discovery. I'm doing this like Danco digital economics like sprints at the moment, and bro, the information is actually, mate, it's quality. Because like, for example, I've now given myself permission to like actually explore my curiosities and not having this fixed mindset of, oh, your brand just has to be one thing that you're going to do for the rest of your life. It's but anyways, kind of rambled there. But I'm kind of just figuring out my interests. I'm going to research about them, going to learn about them because they're my interests, and I'm going to post them online, learn about marketing and sales, and just kind of stepping in now, seeing, I guarantee what I think I'm going to do now, I'm probably going to end up speaking about different things and making money in a way that I wouldn't have expected. So it's like,
I think Naval, but I don't know if you got into all of his stuff, but this idea of like productizing yourself, I think is so interesting that if you do follow your like innate curiosity, you're going to get to a point where like there's no one who can do exactly what you do, because no one would have, like, they would have had to force themselves into it, but you actually especially if you have like an intersection of skills, makes it a lot like more rare to have that combination. So I think that's a fun concept.
100%. And it's the whole idea of you need to be irreplaceable. If you've got all of these collective ideas and experience in all these different areas, that is how you become irreplaceable. It's like Dan Coe. I'm not sure if you watch a lot of his content or anything.
I know him, but not that much now.
Yeah. He speaks about a bunch of different things, and he's pursued a bunch of different side hustles, like creating websites, funnel building, just like a bunch of these, and at one point like creating picture art and everything. And what you will end up realizing is that all of these little things end up coming together, and it's like, I was pursuing music for a while, and like in my own time, and now I've realized, like, oh, I don't have to just go pursue marketing or music or sales. I can just do all of it. Like, I can implement music into my brand, like in my videos, for example. I can
give us a rap about sales.
Make a sales rap battle. Be like, you should buy my product.
Yeah, no, but I said that as a bit of a joke there, but like you definitely can like pull stuff in, and people like that, see something a bit different.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think your first video was about 3 weeks ago now. Do you have like any plan for like upload schedule? I'm gonna do one video every like 2 weeks or anything, or was it just gonna?
Mate, I'll be honest, mate. Like, no, I haven't got any like plan or idea. I'm just trying to kind of spontaneously making videos when I feel like it. But yeah, I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to make like a schedule. But what have you got, like a upload schedule or?
Oh yeah, I try and do like one like fitness / health video every 2 weeks and a podcast every week. But sometimes I miss because like either I'm just like editing a bunch and like it takes longer than I think. But yeah, I got a bit of a target for it. But I think really you need the ideas first. Like, what I recommend you do is just like sit down for like 15 minutes and like actually sit and just literally just think of like what am I interested in. Figure out like what I don't know, stuff you've learned and like topics and yeah, just like try and come up with like a massive list, even if like half the ideas are like absolutely awful, because I think that's how you get the good ideas. You just have to I don't know, I know some people do say you do come up with ideas like spontaneously, and I do think that's true as well, but like especially if you kind of like remix stuff, like you're actively looking at like, well, this is a good idea that like maybe people have done before, but then you can maybe like make your own version on it with like bringing things together. And honestly, maybe just like getting some more reps in, especially if you're like new into the editing and stuff, that like just to kind of get the skills going, get like a bit of a rhythm going. And it don't have to be like the most like crisp videos that anyone's ever seen, but just keep learning, really.
1000%, mate. And it's like, if you want unlimited content creation ideas, you just need to identify what you are curious about and then like immerse yourself into like podcasts and audiobooks, like reading, because that's what I've realized is when I'm watching like a bunch of podcasts and reading books and stuff, you read this idea or hear it, and then it sparks. It's like you can see how it relates to like your story and how it relates to like other ideas. And right. So in the Dan Coe digital economics thing, like one big hack to find your curiosities and interests is simply sit down, write out 20 up to 20 of your interests, just what interests you, and then what you want to do. This is what I did anyway. Go on to ChatGPT, and search up. And search up. So for you, for example, is what are the basics and the fundamentals for fitness? You have this big broad term, fitness. what it will do is it will create a list of all like these subtopics.
Yeah, break it down.
Yeah, break it down. So it'll be like the carnivore diet, or it'll be like fasting, and you can read through all of these topics, all these topics, right? And see which ones excite you. Simply see which ones excite you and be like, oh, I want to learn about that. And then go onto YouTube and be like, oh, carnivore diet excites me. Carnivore diet. Oh, is there a podcast on it? So many ideas that you'll get just from doing that.
Yeah,
So,
you just got to follow it really. And then I think also, like, another that's really quite cliche, really, but it is really true. It's like make videos that you would want to watch. And then this other one that I like, I think, did I come up? Someone's probably said this before, but I think I might have actually thought this myself, was like kind of make videos for like your previous self. So like, you know, you imagine yourself before you came across like this life-changing advice that we've talked about today.
yeah.
Well, it's like there's people out there like that old version of you who need that information.
Yeah.
And like you can like serve it up for them, and and you can maybe say it in a way that's a bit different to other people, or like add your story or context, which might make it more like applicable and useful for them. But yeah, there really is like no lack of ideas. Just trying to figure out which are the good ones and which ones you actually want to make.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I don't really know what to say now, to be honest.
Bro, we're gonna go an hour and a half, so we can.
Jesus Christ! What, mate? I didn't even look at the time. This whole time, I was just, mate. That is crazy.
Hopefully, you haven't got a date or anything.
Well,
because yeah, I told you, once it gets going, it flows, man. We talked about all sorts of things today. Yeah.
Jesus,
Right.
mate, that is. Mate, I was kind of nervous coming onto this, but I've just realised that, like, we've just been going into conversation, and that's
You've
just
been talking to me, bro. Yeah, exactly. That's all it is, man. Yeah.
Mate, that's actually insane, mate. That is crazy.
yeah, it's very cool.
Mate, I think it's this hit me last night as well. I was thinking about, bro. So you're making like podcasts, right? You're jumping on. You're speaking with people that have like in so many different like areas of just like interest and everything, and you're getting like all this information, and while you're like on these calls and stuff, that's gonna spark like your curiosities and your interests as well. And it's just it's actually crazy valuable.
It's like
when I realised that,
free coaching calls sometimes, I can't lie.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Just got to post it online and risk being seen as stupid.
Do you feel like a lot more comfortable with the whole podcast thing now?
Yeah.
Like than you were at the start?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think I speak better as well. Since I mean, like we were talking about articulation earlier. I think I was fairly articulate. I spoke pretty like well. Yeah, you're like we're in the southeast, so it's known for being kind of decently. So I guess some parts of London really is quite rough actually, and they speak in all sorts of language. But yeah. But I think I pause less, and I kind of know what to say a bit more. I don't have so many like stutters or anything. So
yeah.
But like some of the first ones, bro, it's just like I'm flipping. Like I think I was literally shaking before certain podcasts. like we got into it and it was fine, but like when it was like a bigger guest for like one of the first few times, I was like, oh, this is sick. I'm actually speaking to this person. He's just like, don't do anything stupid.
You're like walking up the stairs into your bedroom, your legs are just like quivering, like.
Yeah.
Do you ever like watch back your old podcasts?
I do sometimes, yeah. Not that much. I think I maybe should do it more, but it's a bit fun sometimes. But also, like, honestly, if I've like forgotten something that I want to learn or like use in a future video or something, I literally will go and listen. Cause I know the answers in there somewhere.
Yeah. Mate, have you ever looked back at your old podcasts and kind of trying to like just see how you communicate and where you can improve? Like, because I noticed that,
especially in the beginning, did that a lot.
Yeah, mate, I've noticed that, like. So when I recorded my first video, bro, the amount of cuts I made because I was saying like in every single sentence, like, and I've probably done it this entire podcast too. But once you become aware of that, moving forward, like the next conversation, said it again, the next conversation you have, you're more conscious of your vocabulary and how you say things and the pauses. And if you speak really quickly, and yeah, it's quite interesting just seeing yourself.
It's so weird, especially at the beginning. I'm way better, like way more comfortable with it now. Especially when I started making videos, I was like, this is so cringe. Like, I just need to not take this down because I know it's like this is a good thing for the long term. I know people have that people take stuff down. Well, because me and some of my friends years ago, when probably 12, 13, had like a gaming channel, whatever we did, and one of the guys took down like a bunch of the old videos when people at school found out, and I was kind of annoyed. I was like, bro, that was some memories, bro. I wanted to see those videos again, but it is what it is. But I'm by no means perfect. I still speak like, you know, I'll still say things that are wrong, or say like and stuff like quite a lot sometimes still. But I think with you, the thing I noticed, you say like 100% and like 1,000% like a lot.
Yeah, that's probably something.
And it's not bad. It's just like it's almost interesting. If like people have their own kind of like go-to, you know, like responses, and it's interesting.
Mate, it is crazy. We have this. Mate, I can't exactly remember this whole point, but I was watching like a video on articulation, and this guy was saying that we use like 1,500 to 3,000 words, like the same words every day. And that's kind of our base layer, what we like, our habitual vocabulary in a way, what we kind of like revert to like communicate. And it's, for example, one of mine is 100%, 1,000%. If I just sat down and said, what can I say instead of that, which is more articulate and just more.
Well, you can just have like a bit more of a range, maybe. Like, it's not that bad to say it, but I don't know. I wonder if we just swear too much. Because I think if you get rid of, if you like think about it too much, you almost seem like a robot. Not a robot, but I feel like when people say like in a sentence, it almost makes them feel like more human and relatable sometimes. I don't know.
Yes, could be the case.
But I would say, overall podcasting definitely helped my speech and communication. Okay, well, could we do a bit of accountability for you, and then we probably wrap it up? I think because
accountability.
Yeah. What? Like, when do you think you do your next? He's gone. For your own good.
Okay.
When your next video gonna be? Do you think?
Today.
You're gonna post it today?
I'm gonna make one straight after this.
Okay, right, all right, cool.
That's it, mate. I've committed to myself now. There's no moment like now. There's no tomorrow, dude.
Yeah, there is no tomorrow. Yeah. So if anyone's still listening, Ash will be very sad because he's gonna be you're gonna think he's cringe. No, I'm joking. See, bro, no one's gonna say anything. But if anyone's still listening, go to Ash's YouTube channel now, which is linked in the description, and go and see, did he post another video? So there should be 2 videos there at least by now.
Yeah, sound. And try not to cringe when you watch my first video.
You'll be saying that years now. Try not to cringe just when you watch my last video. But that's how you get better. So I think that's it, man. Is there anything you want to close with? Because I'm sure we've got things to be doing. You got to make your video.
Yeah, I do. Anything I want to close with? No, not really. But it's been an interesting conversation. It's been like an hour and 40 minutes at this point, which is pretty nuts. And yeah, mate, I think we should hop on another call at some time, whether it's podcast or not, and kind of, you know, just
sure, man.
Say kind of keep each other accountable. Be like, oh, what have you learned this week? Like, what have you changed this week? This and that. Maybe. I think that would be quite valuable.
Recruit Callum and we'll do a 3-person podcast.
Yeah, mate. I think that, bro. Me and Callum last night had like a 2-3 hour conversation in the living room, and we were like bro, imagine if we recorded all of this. People would definitely be like, give them some good insights. You know what I mean?
That could be one of your videos. You just sit, you and Callum, when you have like an idea, something you learn, just sit down and chat in front of the camera for like a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta be careful it's not too forced, because like I feel like when it's off the bat, it can be like way better. But
yeah, 100%, mate, 100%. I just said the same. I just said 100% again.
You did 100% of the time. That is your response.
All right, what if I say 1,000,000%? I think that's better.
Or like I agree or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's good though. It's fun. It's fun. Okay. Right. So, I can't remember what your YouTube channel name is. It's just Ash Rylance.
Yes, it's ASHRYLANCE. Ash Rylance.
Link in description. So I think that's it, guys. Thanks for listening, everybody, and thanks for being here, Ash.
Thank you, Owen. Yeah, it's been interesting.
We stay in contact and be interested to see, looking back in this in like 5 years.
Yeah. See how different we look in 5 years.
Your hair's going to be down to your waist.
I hope so. It's going to be bright pink as well.
Okay. I'm holding you to that. All right. It's on record now. It's on record.
Oh no. All right.
Last one to take your hand off the Lambo has to dye their hair pink. Actually, no, it should be the other way around. First one, depending on whether or not you want to dye your hair.
That sounds like a Mr. Beast video right there.
It is, but it's us. The better version of Mr. Beast. All right. Have a good day.
All right. Samuel, mate, Owen. Yeah, it's been nice speaking to you, bro.
Yeah, good to see you again.
See you again soon.
Adios.